the author of the novella I Don't Think of You Until I Do, and 2 chapbooks of prose. She's the editor of Awst Press and has been a writer in residence at Yaddo, Arthub, and 100W. Her work has appeared in Tin House, Lithub, Paper Darts, Barrelhouse, and other places. She can be found on airplanes or at TatianaRyckman.com. Welcome.
Hi everybody. This is really exciting. I'm so glad that you all came. And Adeena, that was like almost embarrassingly sweet. Thank you so much for coming and reading with me. It will be very hard to say goodbye to everybody here, which is why I'm just going to pretend that I'm not doing that, and I'm just going to read my books. Before I do that, though, I wanted to play a little game because I am moving and I'm trying to get rid of a lot of shit. And so if you participate in the game, you get to take some of my stuff away, and then I don't have to pack it. So I'm just going to play this little thing where I predict your future via a trip to the mall together. So if anybody wants to go to the mall with me, raise your hand.
I'll go to the mall with you.
Great, okay. Emily, do you want to go to the pet store, the furniture store, the toy store, or the shoe store?
The toy store.
All right. You become disoriented in the jungle of white tile and fake tropical plants and take a wrong turn. It's hard to remember why you came at all.
Okay.
All right. And then you are seized with a sudden desire for a soft pretzel and begin a new adventure. Artists know this feeling well, and now you walk among them. All right, so I have an assortment of things, including like those tickets you get at restaurants when you like buy a bunch of stuff. You're like 3 stamps away from a smoothie here. A copy of my book that starts mysteriously on page 13. A patch that I made in college of a tooth.
Oh, clearly that.
This is the one for you.
Thank you so much.
Clayton, did you want to play?
Yeah, but I wanted to go Hot Topic.
You want to go to Hot Topic? Okay. So that would be closest to the shoe store, I think.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Right. This thing's got some heavy use. All right. We're going to shoe store. I'm going to rotate it, see if that changes things. All right. Oh, 2. There we go. You pass a vigorous mole walker. Is there anything sadder than the sight of a medium-sized dove eating French fries on Christmas morning, they ask themselves aloud? No, you think. There isn't. And then, someone's lover waits on a couch in an artificial living room. They resemble your lover, and the couch too is familiar. You realize this is your living room, and these things are yours, all of them.
Sounds about right.
So, in addition to the items mentioned earlier, there is a glittery Christmas pickle, a handmade lenticular, and a piece of tinfoil with a tree carved into it covered in pink wax.
Can I have the misprinted book?
Yes. An excellent choice.
Thanks.
All right, I think there's time for one more if anyone else is feeling like they really need to know what happens at the mall. Anyone? Or if you just want any of the stuff in this bag.
I really want your Christmas pickle.
I will save you the Christmas pickle.
No, that's
All right, Morgan, you and Emily can fight over the Christmas pickle. But first, are you going to the shoe store? The pet store. The pet store, of course. I should have known. All right. You are distracted by a kiosk of massaging devices that you believe to be thinly veiled sex toys. Others walk by, seemingly unaware of the intimate moment they're witnessing. And finally, do we already do this one? While staring blankly at the abundance, you recall last night when you closed your eyes during intercourse and saw masterful works of art yet to be made, which you forgot immediately upon orgasm. All right. Christmas, please. All right. Thank you for playing along. What a dream. So I thought it would be funny or fun or interesting or something. I was grasping at straws for what to read. And I decided, like, pretty much all of my writing has sort of happened during the last 11 years here in Austin. And so it would be fun to sort of follow that trajectory and also to read pieces that remind me of different people or were inspired by different people that I've met while I'm here. So some farmers market people will recognize some things, and like cycling friends and people from different groups. And I feel like if I keep talking about the types of people I hang out with, they'll be like, wow, you were such a stereotypically Austin person. Farmers markets and bicycles and all of it. All right, so first I'm going to read from 20-something, which is a chapbook that came out a few years ago. And it was my first little foray into being published, so very exciting. This first story is called Location, 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 which I wrote while tripping at Krause Springs. To the left is France, a baguette and a bit of cheese. On the other side is a man in California, a yellow light and overwhelming warmth. Somewhere else is Alaska, an uninviting, cold, flat blue tundra around a woman. Under the trees is a mushroom village, red caps shadow picnic tables made of twigs. When she's an elf, the woman hides behind the tree, which is fire, another place like India. The bark is an undulating purple dimension apart from space, and there is no distance from it. The crocheted carpet of pine needles and cacti is stoic and waits patiently. The word "the" is giving everyone a hard time. Its mocking tone reminds some of the steep hill behind their old babysitter's house, and others watch fall happen and think maybe it's college. To everyone's merriment, someone wanders into the painting and grows small by the pulsing cotton candy tree line. They grow as they come back to the stump, which is a good place for the man to be. He smiles inside his beard. It looks like fun, but happens rarely. In the tree, the woman remembers not to fly. On the ground, space monkey hooves seem like such a good idea. Everyone agrees they're ideal for this place. And other places, like the one with the sticky pen, and beyond that, more cacti. The man used his neon electric to give his location, a forest and painting, the painting from his dirty college house, all brown and orange and yellow, and the man and the woman are looking into the painting they looked into for years, and she says, "Do you remember? We've been here before, 5 states away." And he says, "We're not looking at it." The teeth are in the beard. We are in it. And the girl in blonde pigtails is a woman in a sweater, sitting on a roof, and the boy in overalls is a man in short sleeves, sitting on a roof. And they don't touch anymore, but they do get older, and they have been so many places. So this book is all fiction, but something like this may have happened when my boyfriend and I first started dating like 10 years ago. The story's called Fellatio. Sometimes I say stupid things and I want to cover my naked body with a clear plastic sheet like a tight shower curtain so my breath will fog it up around my face, and when I am found molding and slowly suffocated, words like disgrace will be used to describe me. This is how I felt when I forgot the word fellatio in a taco joint in the north part of town. I said, stupidly, "Isn't that a boy's name?" And then I wanted to die. All right, I think that's enough of that. My next chapbook was a little collection of essays called VHS and Why It's Hard to Live. And yeah, there are some things in here that felt relevant. The first one is called Paint Job, and this is a little shout out to farmers market friends who have maybe worked on South Lamar. Might know that scene. I saw an old Doritos truck pulling out of the farmers market parking lot last weekend. By old, I mean repurposed. I mean no longer traveling for the marketing and distribution of salty snacks. The yellow triangles that once floated down the side of the truck as if to say, snacks are casual and fun, were painted over with white. The paint was opaque though, and it didn't match the white of the truck. Even more conspicuous were the wide, straight strokes someone had used to paint over them. Tapering rows of stripes that made me think of whiteout on a little roller were all piled in the shape of chips and floated down the side of the vehicle. I wondered how many people it would have taken to hold such a large whiteout roller, and where did one purchase such a thing? There was an Office Max just a few blocks away, but I had never seen a whiteout dispenser that big at one of those stores. Maybe they're kept in the back. Maybe you just have to know someone. Maybe someone really just paints that way. Maybe they're sick of conforming, so instead of tracing the chips with their brush and filling them in the way patient third-grade girls color, they went with stripes like pyramids of brush strokes. Maybe they had limited shoulder mobility and could only move their arm in a straight line across the front of their body. Why didn't they ask for help? Why didn't they hire someone? Or was this person hired? Was someone hired to paint in this very specific and obvious and not at all subtle way? Maybe it's exactly what the customer wanted. Maybe the goal wasn't to hide the fact that this truck once carried suspiciously colored snacks to pimpled teenagers all over the country. Maybe it was a commentary, a riddle, a statement about the evolution of our culture and our values and our needs and the way that some needs never leave us, no matter how we cover them up. Even if we stop watching Wayne's World, both 1 and 2, every few months, we can't escape the fact that it shaped us into the equilateral triangles of something mass-produced but iconic, a tiny piece of our cultural geometry. I went back to the vegetable stand where I work. I thought, forget about it. But there it is, whitewashed across my memory, maybe forever. Another really pivotal moment in my time in Austin was when my house burned down. So this is an essay called My House Burned Down, about that time. In many cases, my house burned down is a get-out-of-jail-free card. For instance, I'm sorry, officer, I can't find my ID, my house burned down. Let me rifle through all my worldly possessions in the back seat to find it for you. And subsequently, sorry I'm late, boss, I got pulled over on my way. Also, my house burned down. Even in cases like, sorry I smell like barbecue, but my house, it burned down. And the woman by the liquor store who is selling things out of her car smells me coming and says, hey girl, you wear perfume? I know you wear perfume. And I say, no, actually, I don't even wear deodorant. And then with the gin in my hand good as open, I wonder why I would say that to a stranger. People are nicer than you think they are. I mean, people are nicer than I thought they were. When my house burned down, I got to stay at other people's houses. It's like a vacation where someone holds a pillow over your face the whole time. But I got to cat sit for a weekend in the kind of place I couldn't afford to live, not even for vacation. It has bathrooms that make you look good. The lighting makes the shower look like a rainbow of confetti, like a party, like someone is so happy to see you that they keep throwing a constant spray of glitter in your face. And the light is so bright and clear, it makes you look clean even when you're not. A lot of people said, you have renter's insurance, right? And this surprised me because I had thought it was a scam. A week before the lawnmower exploded in the living room, the people on the phone insuring my worthless scooter said I could get a special rate on renter's insurance. They quoted a number that seemed foolishly low, and I said, no, that's not necessary. What could happen? What do I care $19 a year about? You remember all the stuff you care about when it turns black and melts into everything else you care about. It's like the story a woman at work told me. Her sister got the better health care package, just in case, right before she found out she had cancer. Some people have all the luck. For a few weeks, I wanted to tell people just to see them react, like in the grocery store when I'd buy cereal next to someone who was really stockpiling their pantry. They had a pantry, so they were going to fill it. And I'd imagine myself saying, that sure is a full cart. And they would laugh awkwardly, because that's a weird thing to say. It's weird to talk to people in line at the grocery store at all. And they say, yeah. And I'd say, before I even see it coming, you must have a nice place to put all of that. I don't know if they think I'm talking about their house or their mouth, and I'm not sure what I'm talking about either. And they'd say, and I'd say, sorry, my house burned down. And they'd say, It's funny though that my house burned down does not work on ex-boyfriends. He'll say, what's new? And I'll tell him about my house, and he'll just say, oh, by the way, I saw you last week waiting in line for that show. I was looking for a parking spot. And you know he means, I saw you with another guy. And then he'll ask you to meet for brunch in 30 minutes and get angry that you can't make it, that he has to cancel a reservation you didn't know about because you haven't talked to him in months, because you always suspected he wanted to watch the blood slowly drain from your slit throat. He does not care that you cried for 10 minutes that morning either because you can't find a stapler or because you haven't slept in 7 days. It's funny though, I hadn't really planned on telling anyone. Another very cool thing that I've been lucky to work on while I was here is to be on the Board of Conflict of Interest, and they graciously published a couple of pieces of mine in this really beautiful book. Are there any of them left? There are? Okay, so you could order this and have it for yourself. My friend Emily Roberts and I collaborated on a couple of pieces in here. She did these really awesome collages, which you'll all want to have in your life when you see them. And then I wrote kind of ridiculous things to go along with them. So I'm just going to read one. It's very short, and it's called Encounter. Ours is not the only painful planet. Be neighborly. Be responsible to those within you and without you. Find the sweet grass in the lustful distance. Do you know its name? Do you trust it with your life? Will you recognize it when it comes for you? Do you have faith in the small miracle of legs? Do they carry you where you need to go? Are they wary? Do you need a moment to rest? And then last little novella that came out about a year or so ago. It's just about leaving over and over and over again, so that seemed appropriate. So I'm just going to read a couple of pages from the end. I stopped believing there was inherent magic in things outside of my control. The news playing from my grandfather's television was just something turned up too loud. The world was just the place where we kept all of our problems. The books I'd elected to speak on my behalf became books you just hadn't returned yet. The pop songs I'd attributed to you broke everyone else's heart. That was the point. And on the other side of town, when my grandfather said goodbye to a woman who could no longer remember herself, the last person left from his real life, I was surprised to find that I did not reassign their sadness to you or their separation to us. How lonely, I thought instead, to be the last thing left that no one remembers. Suddenly it seemed that everyone was counting down to some inevitable end. So I readied myself for the inevitable. But when I parked my car around the corner from your building on my last evening in town and walked the familiar sidewalk back to the doorway where you stood smoking in the fading sunshine as everyone else in the world left their day job, the whole city distracted with the final days of summer, the thing that happened was not an ending. The foolish lurch in my chest was not an empty ending. Your expression was not an ending. In the doorway to your apartment, we struggled to loosen our grip on one another. My loaded car waited at the curb. The rest of the world was a backdrop to my impending departure, and a sad nothing echoed in the long stairwell spiraling above us. Everything seemed far away and pointless. When I finally let go, you said, "We can still talk." And I lied, "That's right. No one is dying." But I knew better. It happens all the time. All right, thank you all so much.